Good evening, hockey fans, and welcome to another episode of Pod Snipe Silly. My name is Dan Bradley. Alongside me tonight, Joel Fernino. Joel, how you doing, buddy?
How's it going? I just
Oh,
had a nice
it's
Canadian
going.
accent there.
Yeah, that's a nice little teaser for what's coming up right off the top of the show here.
I mean, I should just tease it every week. We talk about hockey.
It's true, and Canada does kind of run the hockey world right now, especially on the juniors level.
They've always run the hockey world. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's kind of Hockey's
one
kind
day,
of important up there.
One day. The only time we ran the hockey world was in 1980.
Yeah. Oh, technically 1962, if you want to get to
that's before 1980. The math.
Yeah, whatever.
All right, yeah, all right.
It is.
We're starting off strong. I schooled you in math.
Yeah, that's a rare day when Joel is better.
What the hell do you mean it's rare?
Between the two of us when we're doing math.
2 + 2 = fish. All right, anyway.
Okay, Crocker.
You got it.
I got that reference.
You got that reference.
We've got a great show planned for you tonight, so we're just going to go ahead and jump right in here. Joel, as you alluded to a moment ago, Team Canada, your gold medal winners at World Juniors. Canada defeated Finland 3-2 in overtime in the championship game. Sweden taking the bronze medal. Joel, put a little bit of a bow on the tournament for us. What were your takeaways, the highs, the lows? What did you see that stood out to you?
I mean, to no one's surprise, Canada comes out on top. I don't know. It's typically a battle between them and maybe didn't Sweden win it a couple years ago, and then and then obviously I mean, I was gonna make a joke about of course the U.S. wasn't even involved in the gold or any of the medal, but I know they did take gold last time, so I guess I can't make fun of them too hard.
Yeah, it was a bad loss for Team USA to Czechia in the medal round.
To who? Come on.
The former Czech Republic.
Yeah, exactly. I know, but that's the joke.
For those who didn't know, for those who aren't geography inclined.
Oh, that's fair. But I mean, Italy shaped like a boot. Anyway, what? No, I'm not really surprised. It was definitely
shaped like a boot. Oh boy, we're already off the rails 3.5 minutes into the show.
You got to start off strong. I wish Italy had a legitimate hockey team, by the way. Totally off topic. I mean, I want to know. Oh no, I just thought of a player. Oh God, no. We can't bring him. Chris Campoli.
Ooh.
Ugh. Anyway, let's not talk about that scrub.
If he changes his name to Chris Cannoli, will you let him back on the roster?
I might consider
it. You know what? I'll accept that.
Yeah. But no. Anyway, back on the rails. I'm not that surprised. I mean, when you have guys like Connor Bedard or God, you're going to correct me if I'm wrong, but Logan Stankoven. I mean, you have two names right there. I mean, I'm not surprised. And of course, it's Connor McTavish, right?
Mason.
I'm sorry.
You're thinking Connor Bedard, though. You just had.
I mixed both.
You get a pass.
You both of those. I mean, those three. I mean, I watched. There were some cool highlights to come out of this World Juniors. Obviously, you follow it much closer, so you're gonna be able to give everyone a nice deep dive on it. But I was at least following the Blackhawks that were represented there, which we had 5 represented, 3 on the U.S. So and then. Mm-hmm. Well, you just told me his name, Del Mastro, the defenseman on Canada. Yep. He's got a gold medal now. And then one of our guys on Sweden who got a bronze medal. I can't remember his name right now, but yeah. So all in all, pretty fun. I mean, a lot of cool highlights that came from it. I will be brutally honest, I didn't watch any of the games all the way through. I mostly just watched some highlights as they ended, and I got the notifications on who won and who lost and everything. But
that's fair. They kind of had some weird air times and being kind of buried on NHL Network as well.
Where was it?
It was in Edmonton.
Oh, okay, that's not that bad.
Right. It was just kind of weird for the timing of games were starting at. It'd be 1:00 your time, so you're at work, so you can't catch the first round of games.
I could have streamed it, I guess, but
Yeah, it was. I wish it had gotten more coverage here in the U.S. Obviously,
Totally agree.
Canada, of course, was it was everywhere, but
Yeah.
in the U.S., like it's going to be a very very long time before World Juniors gets national network play. It's going to be well under the table for the foreseeable future.
I feel like the only way it happens is if somehow because I mean the NHL has some partnership affiliation with the World Juniors, I would assume, right?
I don't think they do because
No, no
TSN and
marketing, no
NHL
nothing.
Network were carrying most of the coverage. I don't think
Okay.
other than maybe getting the highlight packages from the feeds, like that
Other
would be
than
it.
now, I was gonna say like that's the only way I could see the World Juniors getting nationally televised at all during
Mhm.
during its in the States would obviously be if the NHL were somehow involved and then thus rolling up into the ESPN partnership that they have going.
Right. Well, I can tell you, Mason McTavish's save in overtime, that was number one on the Sports Center top
It
10. I'll tell
was.
you that.
That's how I
That
saw
was
it. That was nuts.
the most like the Finnish players were already celebrating. They thought the puck was going in, and McTavish plucked it off the goal line.
Said no.
He was your leading scorer for the tournament as well. 8 goals, 9 assists for Mason McTavish. That's a heck of a show that he put on there. And I mean, you look at the talented roster that Canada put together. A lot of guys who have been drafted and a lot of guys who will be soon.
Yep.
Connor Bedard is
Future Blackhawk.
not if you saw that mock draft that had Chicago winning the lottery.
Okay, yeah. I don't
That
think
was the funniest thing. Like
nobody other than you saw that and me saw that mock draft because that man is clearly that man is clearly drinking during the day in a basement somewhere and wrote
it's
that
the
article.
strong stuff.
Yeah,
he's
he
not
wrote,
chugging beers. It's the heavy stuff.
You're gonna love this reference. He wrote that article while on a Malort bender.
Yeah, he's like, you know what? Screw Chicago, and not only that, but that it wasn't Michkov at number one either. So not only was it passing on Connor Bedard, but it was passing on Matvei Michkov, who's probably going to go second. And it literally any other year would be going first, but because of Bedard, is probably going to end up going second.
Maybe this guy's just like a prophet somehow, and he knows like Bedard's going to get injured or something.
Well, you remember when during it was probably January, we had a show where I said some names to watch, and we broke down some of the top prospects.
Yes.
And I said Uri Slavkovsky. I
Oh,
brought him up on the show, and I thought, maybe he'll creep into the top 3. I had no thought that he was going to go number 1. I was convinced it was going to be Shane Wright.
Well,
And
then Shane Wright went number 4.
Pretty much up until draft week, he was
Right.
the number 1 pick.
I don't want to like bring you down, but what were the odds of Slavkovsky? Like, what were the betting odds of him going number 1 overall? And how mad are you at yourself for not just tossing a tiny little cheddar cheese onto that bet?
About the time that we did that episode, he was ballpark plus 800. Because Shane Wright was about minus 125 at that point.
So
there was some thought for Logan Cooley as someone who was going to be up there. There was some thought. He went 3rd.
That's right. Yeah.
Simone Nemets was up there. David Juricek, who we also brought up on the show,
Right.
went up there as well. But it was Wright was the front runner until pretty much the week of the draft, and that's when it finally changed. So could something like that happen this year with Bedard? Maybe. We'll have to wait and see there. I was really impressed with a couple of players as well. I feel like the Ducks prospects kind of ran the show between McTavish and Olin Zellweger. Zellweger was the leading defenseman in points throughout the tournament. 2 goals, 9 assists, 3rd overall in points. So even when you throw forwards into the mix, he was way up there. And then Jesper Wallstedt. I had to get my Wild shout out for the show in.
I knew recognize that name.
Yeah, I still cannot believe that the Wild ended up getting Wallstedt in the way that they did. He was considered maybe a top 5 to top 10 pick, but goalies very rarely go in the top 10. Like it doesn't usually happen. But
right.
in terms of how that class was viewed, he was kind of considered that top 5 to top 10 prospect. And the Wild are sitting on pick 22 and trade up with Edmonton, who I don't know if you heard, but Edmonton kind of needs a goalie. And they've since addressed it with Jack Campbell to cover like the next year or two. But if they wanted to cover the next decade after this year, Wallstedt would have been a great pick at that spot. And there's a lot of thought that that's what they were going to do, as Wallstedt kept sliding down the board. But the Wild moved up with Edmonton to get that pick. He kind of fell into their laps. And the Wild are going to be in need of a goaltender about 2 years out. Wallstedt's going to start the year in the AHL with the Iowa Wild. The backup ahead of him, it's going to be Fleury, and then Philip Gustafsson is going to be the tandem there. But coming over stateside after a really impressive World Juniors tournament, he had a .940 save percentage over 5 games, stopped 125 of 133 shots throughout the tournament, and basically willed Sweden to a bronze medal finish there. Really a remarkable performance from him. Emil Andrea as well, a defenseman for Sweden, 4 goals, 4 assists. That was the most goals among defensemen. Joakim Kemell, 4 goals, 8 assists for Finland. I really thought Finland, they were taking it to Canada late in that overtime and really pressing. I thought Finland might be able to come away with one there, but Canada is your champs. This, of course, was the makeup from the December tournament. It was going to be December and into January. But then with a COVID flare-up at the time, they kind of shut things down, moved it to this summer. So we're going to get to play this tournament again in about 5 months anyway.
My boy Frank Nazar will be there, right?
Yep, Frankie Nazar. He is going to be
there.
Sorry. I love Frankie Nazar, dude. He's going to be so good. When I saw Chicago drafted him, I texted you right away. I was like, this is my #1 draft crush, and he's going to Chicago. And I was pissed.
Well, you knew my reaction because I was just like, I don't go that deep into prospects, and I saw his name pop up. I'm like, if I know that guy's name, I know that's a big deal.
Right, because it'll be a name that we talked about somewhere here. Because I tell you before every year, like, hey, here's like 5 guys that the Hawks might take. And I said, if the Hawks get Nazar, I'm going to be furious. I'm going to hate you for it personally. Blame you, Joel, for Nazar ending up in Chicago.
Yes, it is.
And that's exactly how the board fell. So
I felt bad for the 2 boys on, or 2 of the Blackhawks prospects on USA, who I'm excited for to come up. Do much in the games they did play, but during the juniors, but Landon Slaggert and Wyatt Kaiser, I'm excited to see them, but they didn't exactly like. You just went through a bunch of like significant stats. They didn't really do too much. I mean, what am I looking at here? Kaiser had 2 goals and 1 assist in 5 games during the tournament, which he's a defenseman, so it's fine. But and then Slaggert had, what did he have? I had it up a minute ago. 2 goals, 4 assists, 6 points in 5 games. So that's not bad. I was mostly following them.
I love me some Wyatt Kaiser, UMD Bulldog.
Yes, I was about to say.
Yep, that's my guy right now. Anybody who goes to or went to UMD, we're in favor of on this show.
Yeah, so. I just had his UMD stats up. If we have a second.
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Where were they? Last year's, of course. Yep. He put up, as a defenseman, 2 goals, 17 assists, so 19 points in 34 games, finished a -2, 46 penalty minutes. Not bad.
Yeah, I mean, and he really showed off his shot at World Juniors too. Really an impressive showing for Kaiser there, who like I was blown away watching his release on some of those shots. Like
the Blackhawks Twitter was retweeting some of their performance, at least while they were playing.
Well, and looking at least from a prospects side of things, the Blackhawks defensive prospect pool is looking a lot better than it was.
It better at this point.
Well, yeah, because Kevin Korchinski, we talked about Ethan Del Mastro earlier. Then you throw Wyatt Kaiser in the mix. Like, that's a solid tandem that they can build around. Not to mention Alex Vlasic, who is a guy that I've been really high on for leading into his draft -1 year.
Yeah, he in the few games he played last year, he looked good. I mean, he didn't even look like a rookie. I mean, he's not like putting up any points, but or any crazy offensive numbers. But like, I'm not necessarily.
Yeah.
I don't look for a defenseman to put up huge offensive points. If they do, oh, badass. But like, it's not like a huge deal.
Yeah, it's more, can you break the puck out of your own zone? Can you prevent chances coming back the other way?
Exactly, and the poise was huge, and I think every time. I mean, obviously we weren't good last year, especially defensively, but like, I mean, every time he was on the ice, it was just like it's got ice in his veins. Like he looks totally fine. He was totally okay with the puck, no costly turnovers. I was like, damn, okay, this kid is. I was like, Dan was right. This kid looks pretty good.
I'm gonna clip that sound and have it as my text tone.
Oh, son of
whenever
a bitch.
you text me now.
I take
you
it
saying
back.
Dan was right.
Dude,
That made my whole week right there. I don't need to worry about anything else.
It's about prospects. You're pretty much usually right about prospects.
I'll take that.
I will be the first to admit that when you were all gung ho about this guy named your boy, your new MVP. Come on, Dan. Really?
Where are you going with this?
The Wild. Come on.
Oh, with Wallstedt?
No. Jesus, man, really?
I'm trying to remember
who is your all-star on your team.
Oh, Kaprizov.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
like,
I was telling you about Kaprizov.
I was trying to quiz you. I'm like,
I thought you were talking like recently, so that's where I was confused. I thought you were talking like recent history.
I was like, I'm not going to say it. Like, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's why I was so confused, was because I was thinking you were talking recently. So I was like, Yurov, Kaprizov.
Yeah,
I was kind of high on Boldy, but not as high as on Cole Caulfield, and I wanted the Wild to take him instead.
Yeah, I remember you coming through like, oh yeah, this guy Kirill Kaprizov. I'm like, who the hell is that? Like, whatever, dude. You're gonna have this guy that's probably a third liner at best, whatever. And sure enough, right in my face.
I was like, this guy's gonna be legit. And let me tell you, when I bought the Kaprizov reverse retro jersey, there was like a 5% little bit of doubt in my mind that was like, if I got this jersey and Kaprizov like doesn't pan out, I'm gonna be the biggest tool for having spent all that money on the reverse retro jersey, and he just sucks.
You're not a tool for that. You know what you are? You're a Bears fan buying a quarterback jersey.
Yeah, it's been a bad run of quarterbacks for the Bears.
I didn't buy into it. I know our buddy Jeremy bought a Trubisky jersey. That did not work out. I feel bad for him, but it did not work out. But all of us, the entire group of us Bears fans, this is the first time we've done this, all went in and we all bought Justin Fields jerseys.
Statistically, the best quarterback in Bears franchise history is Jay Cutler. And I think that says a lot about the history of Bears quarterback play.
Smoking Jay.
Gotta love it.
Hell yeah.
Let's move into something a little more recent too, and that is the NHL released their list of the top 20 wingers in the NHL. So I'll just kind of rattle off through them here, starting with 20 through 11. Mark Stone, Philip Forsberg, Gabriel Landeskog, Alex DeBrincat, Chris Kreider, Jason Robertson, Jake Gensel, Kyle Connor, Matthew Tkachuk, and David Pastrnak. Pastrnak just outside the top 10.
Yep.
Then when you move into the top 10, you've got Patrick Kane, Brad Marchand, Artemi Panarin, Johnny Gaudreau, Mikko Rantanen, Jonathan Huberdeau, Mitchell Marner, Kirill Kaprizov, Nikita Kucherov, and at number 1, Alex Ovechkin. Pretty good list of wingers. Some surprises on there as well. I thought DeBrincat might be higher on that list than 17. I thought for sure he'd at least be ahead of Chris Kreider and Kyle Connor as well.
I agree, but I'm assuming they're probably taking into account, all right, prove it to me when you're not on a line with Patrick Kane.
Yeah, that could be part of it.
Which I'm not saying that's going to be an issue. He's going to very much prove it. He's going to be just fine, but I'm just saying that's probably what the kind of stereotypical stigma is right now surrounding him while he's going off to his first, he's the star on that team now.
Well, and let's be fair here too. If we're going to put Artemi Panarin ahead of Kane on this list, And looking at how people said, oh, Panarin is a product of playing on a line with Kane. That was the story when he was still in Chicago. Then he goes to New York and looks even better.
Yep.
Not that he was bad in Chicago. He was very, very good. He just looked even better.
He won the Calder Trophy.
Yeah, he became a star in New York. Probably, I don't want to say the best player on their team, but
I'd argue
it's tough.
I would argue it.
I would hear the arguments for Fox. I would hear the argument for
I said
Shesterkin.
of the forwards.
Oh, of the forwards? Yeah, I'd take that.
I was going to say, like, if you're going to have an argument for maybe Zibanejad, I would go with you there. But I think from a pure offensive standpoint, Panarin pretty much takes it on New York.
For sure. Yeah. Another, maybe a surprise to some people to see Brad Marchand at number 9 on that list, but I think a worthy fit in the top 10 there.
I agree. I don't like who he's ahead of.
Yeah, given that he's literally one spot ahead of Patrick Kane.
And quite frankly, I get it. The age factor. He's in the top 10. I'm not going to complain about it. He should be in the top 10. Absolutely. But I don't know. This isn't even me talking about my hatred for Marchand. Like, I think that should be flipped.
There is a certain Bruins fan who listens to this show from time to time, who I think is going to hold that over your head for a very long time.
I hope he's listening right now because I'm ready to argue, even though I'll be honest. Obviously, Marchand is a monster. He's fantastic. I'm not gonna. I may hate him, but damn if I don't respect him. It's the Sidney Crosby effect. I hated him for the longest time, but damned if I didn't respect him.
I think it's interesting seeing the teammate combinations of wingers on here. So you have Pastrnak at 11 and Marchand at 9. Right. You've got Panarin at 8, and then you've got Chris Kreider at 16. Yep. So seeing like some of these paired up wingers on the list, the Landeskog and Rantanen, let's throw them out there too. Landeskog at 18 and Rantanen at 6. Some tandems on that list as well. Yeah. Which, if you got to pick any of the tandems that found that list on the top 20, which 2 would you take?
What do you mean? Like if I'm starting a team?
So you're starting a team and you get guaranteed to take 2 of the wingers from that list that are currently teammates.
But they also have to be in the top 20.
Right. So Rantanen, Landeskog, Pastrnak and Marchand, Panarin and Kreider. I think that was all the pairings in there. Let me take another look here.
Did you said Pastrnak and?
Yep.
I think that was it. Yeah, everybody. Own.
Technically.
I mean, technically Kane and DeBrincat, but they're not on the same team anymore.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought I saw another one in here that was gonna work, but then it's like, nope, never mind. Trade. They're not.
I won't be that guy and do the. I won't.
Well, because obviously, you.
That's a cop out answer. I'm not. We sit here today, and they are not on the same team. They are not on the same roster. So, I think I would have to go Panarin and Kreider.
Interesting. I'm not. I think I would have gone Pasta and Marchand.
I almost did. I think there's a little bit of a favorite player bias in there with Panarin. I mean, I've loved him. I've loved him since he was here, and I haven't stopped loving his play. So it's part of that, but also, I mean, Kreider is just phenomenal in every sense too. I mean, it's tough because Marchand and Pasta are obviously great.
And not only great, but great together as line mates. One of the best defensive lines in the NHL, especially when you have Patrice Bergeron up the middle.
Right. When you're putting up the points they put up, but also showing up defensively. Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, and I think just to be different, I would go Panarin and Kreider.
Yeah, but I think
I almost picked them, but
I'll go ahead and pick Marchand and Pasta. But I mean, I'm not going to turn down the opportunity to get Landeskog and Rantanen either, and just get 2 guys who can run people over and put the puck in the net. So that to me is an interesting one. Were you surprised to see Alex Ovechkin still at number 1 on that wingers list?
No, because I think we're the same argument for him being the top winger would probably go along with the same argument we were giving the Tampa Bay Lightning all throughout the playoffs. You're the king until somebody dethrones you, and nobody's dethroned him. I don't care how old you are.
I don't think it's controversial to say that he is the best winger ever to play in the NHL.
I don't think it is either.
I don't think
there's
so.
There's a chance he eventually becomes officially the best goal scorer to ever play in the NHL. There's a shot. There really is a shot.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, he's close. He's got a ways to go, but it's far closer than a lot of other people have made it.
Right.
And he's still playing at such an elite level too.
You'd think by now, I'm pretty sure it was last season. So this past season and then the season prior, both times right before the regular season started, there was the talk and kind of like maybe the like hidden expectation of like, all right, he's amazing. He's the first ballot Hall of Famer. He's going to be one of the greatest to ever play the game. But now we're going to start seeing the regression because he's 36 now, right?
Yeah,
36. Yeah, so that's 36 now. Obviously, so if I said the 2 seasons prior, that would have been him at the 34, 35 area. Right. That was where we first started hearing the talks of like, all right, now is probably the time we start to see some regression. Not much, but he's going to definitely start regressing. He's not going to be sitting in the top 5 in scoring or goal scoring specifically. Like he beat the shit out of that take. And then fast forward to last season, same exact conversation, even though he proved everybody wrong. Like, all right, now at 35 going on 36, we're going to see him start regressing. And no, he spat in the face of that take and pretty much led the league in goal scoring for what?
A good stretch of the way.
Third of the season.
Yeah. His 9th 50-goal season of his career.
Right.
And that doesn't include 2 years ago, a 48-goal season. 4 years ago, a 49-goal season. Looking big picture here, and we've brought this up on the show before. Losing a full season to a lockout, losing a half season to a lockout, having a season the first season interrupted due to COVID, and then a shortened second season due to COVID. Ovechkin is a heck of a lot closer to Gretzky if he plays basically those 2 more full seasons, which would have come prime of his career as well.
Absolutely. I mean,
you're looking, even if you assume down numbers in those years, add an extra, we'll say 80 goals, because that roughly would match the kind of pace he's been on throughout his career. To that number, another 80 goals to his career. Were you looking it up? Is that what you were?
Yeah. So
his total.
I was just looking up the parity.
Okay.
So he is, as we stand, he's 114 goals behind Gretzky to tie. So he needs 115 to break the record.
Yeah. So if we throw him those extra 80 that we had just talked about,
right? So you throw the extra 80.
He's breaking it next season.
Exactly. He's literally scoring. He would need 34 goals to tie it if we give him those 80 goals. He needs 34 goals to tie it. So he's absolutely putting up 35 next season.
Yeah.
At least. Yeah. If he doesn't, well, I guess I might put some money on it actually, but still, I mean, yeah, exactly. If we spot him those 80 goals, right. Exactly. He'd need 35 next year to break it next year alone. Unfortunately, that's not the case. I still think he'll break it that's the thing. Until that regression that everyone talks about when you start to hit the age that he's at, until that actually starts to show up, why the hell should anyone believe that he's not going to break it? Unless you're just Gretzky's amazing, but
if you're not rooting for Ovechkin to break the goal scoring record, like you're either someone who directly profits off Gretzky having that record, or you hate fun. Like that's really, to me, what it boils down to.
You're not ready to evolve.
Yeah.
And I think too, if somebody's in that stance right now, like you don't want to see him break it, the man himself who holds it went publicly and said, "I want him to break. I am so excited." And he was like, "I'm excited to watch him break it," as if he's gonna break it. Like Gretzky believes he's gonna do it. If Gretzky believes he's gonna do it and wants him to do it, why the hell wouldn't you want him to do it? Like,
Is there anybody that you were surprised wasn't on that list of top 20 wingers? I've got two that I thought kind of.
You go ahead with yours because I
some
wasn't
guys who might have made the list.
I want to hear yours because I didn't really like. I looked at it and kind of there was no one that popped up right away where I was like, "Son of a bitch!" Like, why the hell isn't this guy on there? So I want to hear your two first.
Yeah, like, and don't get me wrong, these top 20 lists, usually there's a lot of, controversy, who got snubbed, who deserved to make it, who is on there that doesn't deserve to be on there.
It's what we do. It's what
I
gives
would
us
really
a platform.
understand. Yeah, I would understand an argument for all of the players on that list, and I can't say I disagree with it. But if there were two names, I think that surprised me here. One was Willie Nylander with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
That's fair.
And the other one, and this is the one that probably surprised me the most, was to not see Vladimir Tarasenko on that list.
I didn't even think about him. That's a really good point.
Yeah, like Tarasenko has largely been considered on these lists for the bulk of his career. And even last season, a bit of I think maybe a down year by his standards.
Also, do injuries play a factor in this list? And I think they do.
Maybe, and I would absolutely think that that's a fair argument to make. But 34 goals last season, 82 points in 75 games. Really kind of throughout his career, it's kind of been more goals than assists. In fact, he had 3 seasons where he scored more goals than he had assists. And he's kind of changed that a little bit as his career has evolved. He's still a dangerous goal scorer. But it could be that because he's not the player that you think of scoring the big goals for the Blues, now that's kind of O'Reilly has taken on that role a bit. Jordan Kyrou has taken on that goal. Robert Thomas to a big degree. Buchnevich. Tarasenko, I mean, he's still the guy for me in St. Louis, but I wonder if that was maybe a factor in that list as well. So that's one that kind of jumped out at me like, oh, Tarasenko's not on here.
I do have one. Again, this could be, I think injuries probably played a bit into this, but where's Patrick Laine?
I think with Columbus being the media market that it is, it's kind of a very neglected and forgotten about market from the big picture NHL side of things.
Yeah, but the NHL Network's good.
Fair or not.
The NHL Network, who made the list, is good about, not really worrying about the whole market. I mean, look at Ottawa. DeBrincat's on there. Okay, he did play for the Blackhawks his whole career. I get it.
Right, which bigger hockey market.
Right. I mean, until last year, and I guess the entire state until about 4 years ago, Florida Panthers. Huberdeau's on there. Obviously, he earned it as of this last year for sure, but I mean, he got top 5, right? Like, is there some recency bias in putting Huberdeau in the top 5?
I mean, 4 straight seasons of more than a point per game pace. I think he absolutely has earned being up that high.
For sure. So, again, I'm not like jumping on it and saying like, why the hell isn't Laine in the like if you were to like ask me, okay, fine, replace one of these top 20 with Laine, I mean, maybe Jason Robertson, maybe.
Yeah, I like Robertson a lot though. Like he's really good, and I know there was a lot of animosity between Wild fans and Stars fans as it came to Calder voting, and was it going to be Robertson? Was it going to be Kaprizov? That was the
Kaprizov.
argument.
No, hold on, back up. Now you just fired me up because of a take that everyone has.
Yeah, the argument was Kaprizov being too old.
And
right,
that is
which was the dumbest
biggest
argument.
That is the biggest bullshit take in hockey.
It's definitely up there for a ridiculous factor. No doubt about that.
Yeah, because they did the same thing for Panarin. And actually, ironically enough, Panarin and Kaprizov were the same age when they won their Calder.
Yeah.
Because Kaprizov is 20, he was 26.
Yeah,
right?
and in fact, by
25?
days, he's 20. Yeah,
25 when he won it, right? He was 25. I think he was pretty much pushing 26 though, right? Because he was 26 most of the last
he turned
season.
26 in the off season.
This off season. Yeah. So
I think. Give me a second to check that.
I can ask Google. Quit your coughing.
I'm trying to. Oh yeah, he's 25. He turned 25 in April of this year. So
maybe they weren't the same age then.
Yeah.
Because
I
knew
he was younger, but I thought they were like the same age, but Panarin had him on like days.
No, Panarin was 25 when he won the Calder.
Also, like Kaprizov wasn't even the oldest Calder finalist that year either. And
that's why I say it's the stupidest take.
A lot of people kind of forgot that was their argument last year in ruling out Kaprizov when it came to this year's numbers. And you're talking about Michael Bunting with Toronto. A lot of people kind of forgot their fury that they had for Kaprizov winning when suddenly it's a good old, Maple Leafs player that's in the mix. So that was another one there too. Let's segue into one last segment here before we get to 2 minutes for roughing. And that is tomorrow. We're going to find out who the NHL 23 cover athlete is going to be.
Yep.
Will it be Austin Matthews for like the 8th straight season?
It friggin' better not be.
That's a joke. He 2 cover athlete appearances in 3 years.
Yep.
For Austin Matthews. McDavid's been on it.
Quiz for you.
Okay, here we go.
With Austin Matthews second, who does he tie as the only other athlete to get the cover twice?
Kane.
Correct.
Yep.
No, not correct. Sorry.
Wasn't it?
It should have been, but there was a issue that 1 year.
Taves?
Yes, it was Taves. Sorry, yes. Well, it was 2016 was supposed to be Taves and Kane, and then the whole Kane fake thing, the fake lawsuit thing was going on.
Yep.
That fake thing was going on, and they took him off but left Taves on. So it should have been both of them. So you were technically right. But
I'll take it. Joey, easy. Seth Jones. Joey's got his name. Well, he's not the cover athlete.
Oh my God. That was good.
Cover athlete we need, but he's the cover athlete the game deserves. I think that's very fair. Good point.
Should I mute? I'm dying over here.
Well,
oh my God, Joel, that was fantastic.
To pull himself together here, Seth Jones is the cover athlete. That's
God.
so good. That's so good. Just because of
damn it.
There are so many things that are wrong with the EA NHL franchise.
I'm laughing on the outside and I'm crying on the inside.
that is a man who's laughing to hide the pain right there.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Joel, who is your take for the NHL 23 cover athlete? Who should it be and who will it be? Ooh. That might be 2 different answers.
It's funny. I realistically, who I have down for who should it be, I really think, you know what? No, I'm going to go, because I'm going to ask you, is yours a different answer?
The person I think should get it and the person I think will get it are 2 different people.
Correct. So, admittedly, I did not expect that, but I think even regardless, mine is the same person. So who should get it, and I believe who will get it, Cale Makar, dude.
I could absolutely see that.
It's got to be Cale Makar. And if you really want me to not do the same guy as the answer, I think Cale Makar should get it. But if I'm going to go with a will, I would say it'd be between You know what's weird? This might open up a can of worms. I want you to answer your thing first. This might open a can of worms, but take a pause on it. Just think about it.
Okay.
For some reason, like Leon Draisaitl pops into my head, but for some reason, and this is the can of worms I'm talking about, just pause on. For some reason, I just don't see them giving it to him.
Yeah,
I don't know why him specifically. Like, I don't know what it is like between him and McDavid. Obviously, McDavid had 20. I think it was 2018, 2019. I can't remember. It was 20. I think it was 20. It was 2018 or 19.
Let's see.
McDavid had.
Matthews had 20 and 22.
Mm-hmm.
Was it 21 that was McDavid?
It might. Yes, I believe.
We should have called up the NHL 20 or the NHL.
I'm gonna look it up.
Athletes
no, list. NHL 21 was Ovechkin.
Oh, that's right. Yep. So it was the anniversary, or not the anniversary, but like the 50.
I think it was 19. Was it?
Okay. Yeah, that'd be right.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I was right. It was 18. 19 was 19. Hilariously, what a fall from grace this was. 19 was PK Subban.
Oh yeah.
When he, was still awesome, and now he's just terrible.
And he was still all offense, PK Subban.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think for me, on my take for who should it be, I'm going to go a little bit different direction here because I also want to get the list of the cover athletes up in front of me here.
For the record, I saw your pick for who should it be, and I am 1,000% in agreement. If I didn't have my pick, I would love if this were the case.
I think that what I had put on the notes was just who I thought was going to get it, and I didn't really take into consideration.
Oh, that wasn't should.
That wasn't should. That was just who I think would.
That's interesting.
So the person that I think should get it is Igor Shesterkin, and after the year that he just had, the last goalie who was on the cover was Marty Brodeur in 2014.
Right.
So it's been 10 years ago since they had a goalie on the cover.
Yeah.
And then if you go back before that, the last time that you have a goalie on the cover, let me keep looking here.
Just tell me the year and I'll guess who it was. I don't have them up.
Well, let me find it first because there are so many forwards that were on the cover that
I want to say it was...
to go back. Oh, you're never going to get this. You'd have to go back to 1997, the last time that they had a goalie on the cover, and you're not going to guess who it is.
Rick DiPietro.
Nope.
No. That's a throwback name for you.
We're going to get another throwback name here, and if my dad in particular is listening, he might be screaming this one right now. John Van Beesbrook was the
oh my god!
So you have to go back to 97 with John Van Beesbrook on the cover. Joey chiming in here and saying we honestly are due for a goalie cover. I think
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
So especially after the year that Shesterkin just had, I could absolutely see him being the guy.
That's a good point.
But I think, and shout out to my buddy Tim Van Straten, who pointed this out to me earlier today for why this is the one that we've been teasing and that I think it's going to be, is Trevor Zegras. I
friggin' cool.
am willing to bet a big chunk of money that he's going to be the cover athlete. I have no inside knowledge on this, but what Tim pointed out to me that was what kind of gave it the, okay, this is where they're going, is when they announced their teaser the other day of the, hey, we're going to announce this.
Yeah.
They had a block of ice with a hockey helmet in it.
I saw that video.
And the block of ice with the pair of skates in it.
Mm-hmm.
Today, they announced that Trevor Zegras is changing his jersey number from 46 to 11. Yeah. Which,
why?
Well, he wanted a different number, I guess.
Okay.
But
if you were going to tell me he was changing it to 23, then it would have been a little obvious.
Here's the catch. Is in the video, or not the video, but the picture that he posted with the
jersey,
changing the jersey, he is standing on a block of ice. It looks so much like the ice that they have in the picture for the NHL 23 teaser. I think it has to be Trevor Zegras.
Honestly, you make me want to change my answer for the will, because you're absolutely right. And the way that they try to market the game with
Mhm.
like, the cool, like, hey, learn to do remember when I think
Yeah,
it was
learn to do
NHL.
lacrosse. Yeah,
Yeah, do the one
Michigan.
hand, yeah, the Michigan at I think it was NHL 20 where they introduced that.
Mhm.
Whatever one you and I played throughout the pandemic, whatever that was probably
Right.
20 or
Yeah,
21,
that
whatever.
would have been 20. Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
like,
much show.
oh god, I know. It was when we were actually good at it. Now, not so
Yeah,
much.
I haven't played against another person in probably since the last time I played you or maybe our buddy Jeremy. Like,
Yeah,
that would've been the
I
last time that we played.
gotta get the team back together at some point.
One
Once you
of
get
these
a
days.
PS5.
That
Um,
would be a while, but yeah, Joey
y-
chiming in, Panthers legend John Van Beesbrook. No doubt
uh,
about that.
shout out to Joey for that adorable family pic in his profile picture, by the way.
Speaking of child, the NHL Joey chimes in here is looking for a poster child that makes the game fun. Look how many kids tried the move from behind the net would be a smart marketable move. Yeah, from a marketing standpoint,
Dude, exactly.
nail on the head. I mean, that's exactly it. It makes so much sense from the who are you trying to market the game to? And
Right?
Zegras has that flash. He has that innate ability, and he's just a marketable person.
If you're it goes back to our days of playing in like the Facebook leagues and stuff when you like
Mhm.
picked your player or whatever. Obviously, you were everybody. You were goalie, defense, whatever, center, whatever. I was always winger, and like you market the game based off of the player you want to create and play as in World of Chell or whatever. And absolutely, Trevor Zegras is absolutely that player you want to be in the game.
Mhm. Yeah, you want to be all the crazy dangles. You want to be scoring all the goals. You want to be a really good skater. Zegras is all of those things. Plus, as Joey touched on from a marketing standpoint, some of the NHL stars are kind of hard to market. Just their personality doesn't quite
Right.
line up as well. Zegras has got the personality. Like you listen to him talk, you look at the videos that the Ducks team puts out on their social media channels. They had one where they were doing this was around Christmas time, and everybody was coming in and they were making the video and they were sitting next to a giant bear. And of course, there's a person in the bear, but everybody's sitting there and they're doing their, hey, I'm Trevor Zegras. I play for the Ducks.
Yeah.
Um, I want to wish you and your family a very happy holiday season. Wish you all a Merry Christmas, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then they would have the person in the bear costume like jump out and try and scare the players. And some of these guys like don't really react all that much. Zegers looks like he is about to piss his pants. I'll go try and find this video afterward and send it to you, but it is the funniest thing. Like I love Trevor Zegers, dude. Like of
I do
players
too.
not on my team, he is one of my favorite players who is not on my team.
Literally
Uh,
same. I mean, you go anybody listening or watching right now could go back to our episode around NHL awards, and I got heated when Trevor Zegras didn't win the Calder. So
yeah, and Zegers he's going to be a star in this league for a long time.
dude, the
And
Ducks are going to be disgusting in a couple of years.
yeah, give it another 2-3 years for their guys to develop, but you're going to have Zegras, you're going to have McTavish, you're going to have Zellweger. They are building a really, really good core in Anaheim, and I hope that Gibson is still around in net long enough there to kind of see that through.
Still young enough, right? How old is he?
He's 28, 29.
He's right in his
So
prime.
yeah, he is, but those 2-3 years, he's got 4 years left on his deal,
I'd say he's got
so
4 years left of his prime.
could line up. It
I would
could
argue
line up.
I would argue those 4 years on his contract are the last 4 years of a prime age for
Mhm.
goalies,
The,
barring
the
injuries.
the Ducks have a top 10, if not top 5 prospect pool.
Mhm.
They're going to be good. And when you have someone like Zegras that you can build around, that certainly makes it a lot easier. I would love to see that. Gordon Bombay has the Ducks on the move. Why? Because Ducks fly together. You know what? I think I'm going to go watch Mighty Ducks.
Quack, quack,
Quack,
quack.
all the Mighty Ducks movies are on Disney Plus. I may go watch that later tonight. Sometime soon, I got to watch it. Just tradition. Get ready for hockey season.
Yeah, no, for sure. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm excited to see the trailer for NHL 23. I mean, truth be told, I bought 22 and I did not really play it much.
Yeah, I mean, it was different because you and I mean, we used to play,
All the
in
time.
the Facebook league. We used to play. We had like a group of guys that we played with pretty much every night.
We still talk
Um,
to them.
right,
Some of them
and
listen.
we
Some
still
of them
talk
watch.
offline. Yeah, when we're
Yeah.
not, on PlayStation. But
We'll get the gang back together.
yeah, one of these days we'll make it happen.
Call of Duty as well.
Well, let's see here. Now I got to find my other banner and see where we're at here. It is time to close out the show the way we usually like to do with 2 minutes for roughing. Joel, I was going to do it this week, but then you brought up a really good topic, and so I deferred to you
That's fair.
for this week. I have 2 weeks now to think about it for the next episode, and I'll get something in line for that one. But as you limber up here and get all ready to go,
Does a lion
we'll
limber up before it takes down a gazelle?
I love that movie, man.
That is
We're bringing back all the favorites tonight. We're bringing back Zombieland. We're bringing back Mighty Ducks. We're bringing back Fairly Odd Parents. We've had some great references throughout this show.
Where's the fucking Twinkies?
Do you have any regrets? Garfield, maybe. It was the best line in the whole movie.
Oh my God, Bill Murray,
so good. Anywho, that's enough of a tangent for tonight. Are you ready to go on your 2 minutes for roughing here?
Oh, I've been ready for the last couple of days.
All right, we'll count you in here. 3, 2, 1, go.
As most people know, whether you watched it or not, the Game of Thrones prequel, House of the Dragon, premiered this past Sunday. Right off the bat, oh my God, it was phenomenal, and I am so excited for this entire series. It's gonna be amazing, and oh my God, it's just awesome to have Game of Thrones content back. Now, with that said, I started seeing all of the memes pop up of, like, oh, me after swearing off of Game of Thrones after the ending of, the whole series was so bad. I'm never the biggest shittiest take I had seen before, and now all of a sudden I'm seeing unearthed again now that House of the Dragon has come out, is that, with how bad the Game of Thrones ending was, and I get it, it was bad, it was lazy, it wasn't good. People just boycotted all Game of Thrones content, and I think that is the dumbest take ever. It's just a bunch of pretentious people that want to say they're fans, but realistically, like, I get it, it ended badly, but you don't boycott all Game of Thrones content. People are trying to bash this new Snow series they're going to make, which sounds amazing. This Targaryen series is about to be amazing, but because the ending was bad, you're not going to watch any of it. It's the stupidest, like, wannabe martyr bullshit. Because here's the thing. The Game of Thrones ending was bad, but that's because the writers got lazy. George R.R. Martin, the original writer of all of this content, all of the lore, was very much not involved. He fought for some things towards the end, and he got overpowered because he gave them too much power in the end. Sure, maybe that's his fault, but he didn't write it. Now, those two are no longer involved. They did their fuck up, and it's done. But now George R.R. Martin is back involved with people he trusts, and I think it's about to get just as good, if not even better, than we all came to know and love what Game of Thrones was. So I'm sick of that take.
Yeah,
I could have kept going. It's just annoying.
Because you and I were both big Game of Thrones fans. And both...
Huge. It's still my top 3 shows of all time, easily.
Both really disappointed with how things went at the end. The really lazy writing, the unfinished storylines. There was a lot to it that really didn't get addressed.
Absolutely.
Hearing the interview with Weiss and Benioff, where they basically said, Danny sort of forgot about the Iron Fleet. Like, that was the laziest writing. And they're like, oh, shoot, we forgot about this. We're just going to say that this character forgot about this and pass it off so that it doesn't make us look as bad. No, it made you look really, really bad.
Right. Exactly.
And you remember when the press ahead of that final season, and they were talking to the stars and Emilia Clarke and Peter Dinklage. They kind of danced around The questions about the final season and is it going to be good? Are fans going to be happy with it?
Yep.
They really danced their way around it a lot and kind
I,
of knew that the bad was coming.
I agree, but here's and the thing with that, and you're right. They all danced around it. Now they actually had really good answers because it's like, look, like it's an ending. Like
Mm.
I think their cryptic messages to those answers were basically like, look, we're not going to tell you that the writing is lazy as all hell,
Mm.
but what we can tell you is that all the performers just just put their all into
Oh, they
acting
did.
out everything. Like the writing, like the backstory writing was lazy, but like the dialogue itself and just the acting in general was as powerful as ever. And the emotion, like that's that was why I defended it so much. I wasn't ever defending those two, the two writers, and I'm not even saying their names because screw them, they don't deserve it.
Yeah, those answers were very much we're trying to stay working as actors and actresses after this.
Yeah.
So we're going to play the PR game here and keep our mouths shut on it.
And the thing too, like George R.R. Martin finally let it breathe a little bit and then started coming out and saying like, look, I wanted it to be 10 seasons, maybe even more than that, but I lost that battle. And he was even professional about it. But that happens. I mean, it's the same thing we talk about it in sports, like the CBAs, right? Like the players associations in the NHL, the NFL, whatever, like they can complain, but in the end, like it's what you originally agreed to, and now they have the power and you can't do anything about it. It was the same thing with the last season and a half of Game of Thrones. People hated on season 7. I loved it.
It was entertaining, season 7 was, but also you could tell it was kind of starting to teeter off the rails a little bit.
For sure. And I mean, like they ended it on such an amazingly like crazy high note. Everyone was so pumped up, and then it was like, oh hey, 6 episodes. That's all you get. And it's like, what? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
But now I'm so excited. Like they were even bringing up like some of the lore in this prequel, and this prequel takes place, I think it's about roughly 200 years prior or right before. It even says, actually, no, I'm sorry. This isn't a spoiler. It even says, in the beginning of the episode 1, 172 years before Daenerys Targaryen. So there you go. So it's just awesome, and also you clearly can tell like Martin he's greenlighting he's writing some of this stuff, he's finishing up stuff, he's getting HBO to greenlight all these projects, like this project, like the Snow project, which is supposed to be the sequel to Game of Thrones, because he understands, like, guys, I get it, that shit wasn't how I was hoping it would go. So let me rectify it. And he is rectifying it, and so far he's rectifying it amazingly.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it. I won't deny it. I was one of those people who had a really, really bitter taste in my mouth
We fought
after
about it.
the end of Game of Thrones, and like
I think everybody did.
It was just so like I just have this feeling of like I know that if I watch the first episode of House of the Dragon, I'm gonna want to go back and rewatch the original series and all of the incredible moments that made us love that show so much through the first 6 seasons. And then knowing how that ending is going to be, it's like, do I really want to put myself through that dumpster fire of an ending again? And I know the shows aren't connected in terms of like a storyline per se. Like it's not you have to watch one before you watch the other or something like that.
No, but it's definitely more fun if you've watched the entire series first.
So I'm gonna go in with an open mind. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna see what I think. But yeah, I'll admit I was one of those who was hesitant on it, but I've heard a lot of good things about it from a lot of people and people whose opinions matter to me. So
it just broke HBO's record of the biggest premiere of any of their shows ever.
Yeah, it's amazing though, because like you think about how Game of Thrones was like so culturally relevant, and everything had some sort of a Game of Thrones reference. It didn't matter what it was, but everything referenced it. As soon as the series ended, nobody wanted anything to do with Game of Thrones.
I
because
think
of
we
the
needed
backlash
to.
over the ending.
Yeah.
And now we're starting to kind of come back around on it. It's kind of cool to see.
It got some time to breathe, and that's why, like, for one, I will confirm for you, literally the minute that you hear any semblance of the Game of Thrones sound, like intro music, they don't play it explicitly, but it's in there. I am going to go rewatch all of it, including 8. And the thing is I guess if you put yourself in the mindset, and I do this, not everybody can do this, but I do this, and it's like if you can just get it out of your mind that, look, this writing I'm about to watch when you get to season 8 is going to be lazy, but the acting, the performances, and just the sheer fun that season was fun. Regardless of writing, that season was fun.
It had some moments along the way.
So I think that's like what I'll go into with it. And dude, I'm excited, especially the Jon Snow thing. Like, they're gonna bring back Kit Harington for the sequel. Like, I can't wait for that either. Anywho, that was a lot of Game of Thrones talk to finish the episode.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I enjoyed the show. It's a nice segue that we don't always have to talk about hockey on this show as well.
We don't, especially
we don't.
We don't. We got fantasy football coming up next. We got our draft next week.
We do, yeah. Our draft is next Tuesday, which, by the way, no show next Tuesday. Not because of the draft. If this is your first time watching, we've done an every other week type of deal during the off season. It just so happened, let's do the draft on the week where we don't have the show. So it worked out that way.
Yeah.
But we'll be back 2 weeks from tonight. But that is it for tonight's show. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe, and follow. We're on Twitter at PodSnipesDeli. The Facebook name is the same there as well. We do post some stuff more so on Twitter than Facebook throughout the week, but we generally, especially as the season gets on, that'll be a one-stop shop for your news, your updates, all that kind of stuff. We'll have live video content throughout there as well. Plus, I kind of teased this before the show, a special announcement as well. I'm going to be starting a second hockey podcast with a couple of people from the Old City Sports Network. This is going to be an AHL focused show. So check us out there. American Beauties is the name of the show. It's going to be strictly AHL focus. So the stuff that you see here is primarily the NHL angle with a little bit of juniors and prospects thrown in along the way. That show is going to be entirely American Hockey League. So one tier down from the NHL. One thing that Sam Wismer, one of the co-hosts, and I have talked about is without junior hockey and without minor league hockey, you don't have the NHL. Like, you have to have the infrastructure of your minor leagues and your junior leagues as a player development channel. You don't get the NHL without those leagues. And there's a need for that kind of coverage. So we're really excited about that. We're going to have a ton of fun content coming for you there. But wanted to get that information out here on the show as well. That'll be Thursday nights. When I get a specific time, I'll let you know.
That means your first debut episode. I better hear some talk about our Chicago Wolves.
Oh, you will.
Or Calder Cup champions.
Yep. The goaltender who got suspended for 2 games for flipping the bird in the celebration after
personally, I love that.
Hero. It was the funniest thing. It was
awesome.
so good.
So awesome.
But that is it for tonight's
name.
Say again?
Put respect on that man's name.
Sure will. That's it for tonight, though. So we'll see you guys all back here in 2 weeks. He's Joel. I'm Dan. Enjoy the rest of your night, everybody.